Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us during the Lytham Partners Spring 2024 Investor Conference. My name is Ben Shamsian, Vice President of Lytham Partners. During this presentation on Fireside Chat Webcast, I'm excited to welcome Peraso, ticker symbol of PRSO on the NASDAQ. Joining us today from the company is Ron Glibbery, Chief Executive Officer. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone that management is available for one-on-one meetings throughout the conference. If you have not already signed up and would like to schedule a one-on-one meeting, please send me an email at shamsian@lythampartners.com. That's SHAMSIAN at lythampartners.com, or visit lythampartners.com/spring 2024. And from there, you can click on the one-on-one selection button. With that said, Ron, I know you have a few slides that you want to run through before we go into questions, so let me turn the floor over to you, and when we finish, we will jump into questions. Ron, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Ben, and thank you for inviting Peraso here today. It's a pleasure to be here. We'll just flip through our disclaimer slide. Just to let everyone know, Peraso is business model is what we refer to as a fabless semiconductor company. So that means, I guess, a comparable is someone like NVIDIA, who actually designs and markets semiconductor devices, but actually outsources the manufacturing to companies like TSMC. So our business model is fabless semiconductor. We focus on a technology called millimeter wave. Millimeter wave is, and I'll get into a little more detail, is high frequency wireless. Really, the driving business requirement is that we're running out of wireless spectrum. As spectrum demand grows, the existing wireless spectrum is running out of capacity, so the world needs more capacity. And Peraso is a leading vendor of semiconductor devices that enable that capacity. We have really three distinct product offerings. The first is for fixed wireless access, which is basically high-speed broadband. So that's our first product offering. We also sell into military applications as well with that product line. A second product line is what we refer to as consumer electronics, or VR. Again, a major characteristic of our technology is that it's very, very robust in interference and high interference environments. So for example, high performance video, high speed video, and particularly virtual reality is a terrific target market for our technology. And finally, we have product for the 5G millimeter wave world, which utilizes 24 to 39 gigahertz band, which is a market we cater to as well. We're based in San Jose. We have about 46 engineers and are in the order of 150 patents, if you will. So just moving on. So what is millimeter wave? Have you never heard of it? So basically, it's a frequency band from 24 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. So this is very high frequency. A real characteristic, and what we should keep in mind throughout this presentation, is that because it's very high frequency, it's very susceptible to really any perturbations in the equipment or the PCB material that the customers are utilizing. So it's a very, very tricky technology to get into mass production. But we've been, again, focused on this over 12 years, closer to 14 years. And we've become a leading expert and capable company in terms of really bringing this millimeter wave technology to market. So really our focus is on the 24 to 60 gigahertz spectrum. I would say even today, 60 gigahertz is our real focus. But as you can see, in 5G, it's become, a key part of the 5G specification. And all the way up to 60 gigahertz, which is a lot of what we focus on today as well. So basically, it's a technology that's focused on high frequency spectrum, which really enables, again, new applications that are really running out of spectrum at the lower frequencies. So again, just to reiterate, the key markets that we're focused on. The first is what we refer to as fixed wireless access. That's really just basically providing high-speed internet to people, and that really is a hot market these days. I mean, a lot of people, not just in the US, but globally, have quite terrible internet access. So, basically, we provide a technology that enables, really a global preponderance of high-speed internet in the gigabit range. So really equivalent to kind of what the fiber data rates that we're seeing getting rolled out as well. So fixed wireless access is a key market for us. Another important market is military. The key word here is stealth. And what we're finding from really existing battlegrounds in the world today is that traditional wireless, which kind of shines like a light bulb, if you will, and can be easily detected by the enemy, is a real problem today that we've discovered. And so with our technology, which by the way uses a technology called phased array beamforming, it really allows us to be stealthy on the battlefield, and it's a real advantage in that space. And finally, on the high performance video side of things, because we have very low latency and a very robust in the context of high congestion, provides a very ideal technology for either streaming video or wireless VR, if you will. So those are some of the key applications that we're seeing with our technology. So if we look at the existing fixed wireless opportunity, this is an ecosystem that's been around for about 15 years. And at the bottom, you can see several, OEMs that are in that field. Again, just to be clear, because Peraso sells chips and modules for a living, like our primary customer base are original equipment manufacturers that actually build communications equipment. So we don't build the communication equipment, we build the semiconductor devices that go inside the communications equipment. So today, we've really, our lead customer has been a company called Ubiquiti, who really are the leaders in this space and really have been around for 15 years or so, but really have catered more to the rural market in America. Now, as it turns out, they have a very large business doing this. And over the last couple of years, they've introduced products using our semiconductor devices. So we've really cut our teeth on the American rural market, if you will, in terms of providing very high-speed internet for remote and rural communities. So that's really been, where we've cut our teeth in terms of providing technology to those for those market opportunities. But what we found over the last year is that another key advantage of our technology is that we work in very dense environments. So historically, again, going back to the military example, normal wireless technology is like a light bulb, and unfortunately, the nearby networks overlap and kind of cancel each other out in terms of their performance. Again, because we use a technology called beamforming technology, it allows us to address extremely dense urban environments, and we've actually won some opportunities really on a global basis. So. Certainly, you can see from this diagram, for example, in Africa, in very dense urban communities, we're starting to roll out our products to really service the millions of people that in Africa that have quite poor internet today. And if you can see this diagram, basically because we've got this beamforming ability, we can really address several times more density than other technologies can address. So that's really an advantage we brought to this urban environment. But it's not only in countries like Africa or South America. For example, there was just recently announced in South Los Angeles, an opportunity where where the government has actually established a public-private opportunity to provide high-speed internet to underprivileged people in the Los Angeles area. So this technology really transcends globally, be it Africa, be it South America, be it America, dense urban environments that require very, very tight beamforming and very high performance. So those are two markets that have really emerged for us over the last year. Again, just going back to the military, we bring several advantages to the military. So fast, easy setup, We bring gigabit capabilities. So if you look at our first design win, you can see in the picture like a Humvee that's got a, for example, may have a central server, embedded in the Humvee. But now the soldiers can be, away from the Humvee, let's say in the order of 100 or 200 meters, and they can communicate with the Humvee using our technology, because it's very difficult or almost impossible for the enemy to really detect our signals. So military has a technical term, they refer to this as low probability of interception, low probability of detection, and anti-jamming. So this is actually becoming now more and more a significant opportunity for the companies is military applications where they need this stealthy capability in the battlefield. Actually, the interesting thing is with our 60 gigahertz products, believe it or not, the military, these are unlicensed bands. So in other words, a license is not necessary, and the military sees that as a real advantage that they can use going on a global basis. So they don't have to interfere with existing energy bands in any of the countries that they go to. So the military in the defense market is a terrific emerging market for us. So for VR, and we do have some VR customers, I mean, there's some really key attributes that our technology has. So for example, our data rate's 3 gigabits per second. So that gives really, I think one of the major knocks against VR technology has been, it kind of gives you a headache. So the way you can solve that is with very high resolution video. So we satisfy that requirement with very high data rates. But also at the same time, you need low latency. So we have under 5 milliseconds latency, which is really not detectable by the human brain. And almost most importantly is because we work with, again, beamforming technology, we have a very low interference. And so when you're playing a video game, for example, you don't keep getting interruptions because of other signals, because we've got this tight beamforming technology. So we really see VR and in general streaming video are as key markets for our products. So on the 5G side of things, as I stated at the top of the presentation, so basically the real value proposition, and everybody's saying, well, what's the killer application? Well, the killer application is simply capacity. And so basically, all the carriers, certainly in the US and even on a global basis, what we're seeing every day is, the significantly increased use of, the wireless spectrum for things like YouTube videos or video streaming for Netflix and so on. Video takes a lot of bandwidth. And so the carriers are finding that their networks are starting to get saturated in terms of those applications. So millimeter wave really kind of goes to solve that problem because we enable and kind of unlock that spectrum above 24 gigahertz. So we really see the carriers as the next wave of growth for the company over the coming years. So we really brought a terrific product to market in that regard. The focus for us specifically in 5G is on fixed wireless. So as you can research, the carriers now are really using wireless as a key initiative for increasing their customer base and providing broadband access to their customers. So we really see 5G as an important part of our future in millimeter wave. An important message also, in our story is that, part of when we went public in 2021, we did it through an RTO with a company called Moses, who had a very, very terrific memory product offering. However, over the last 12 months, we were informed by our fabrication plant that they would suspend building that technology. So we had to provide end of life to our customers. However, that did provide over $12 million in total backlog for the company, and with extremely high margins, is providing over the next year or so significant cash to the company for help in terms of really sustaining our cash flow over the next 12 months. And as we increase our millimeter wave business more and more, like obviously that will eventually take over. But having this end of life is just a terrific bridge in terms of just getting us from where we are today to a cash flow positive situation in the future. So just to summarize, so the basic business premise for the company is that the increase in wireless demand, be it, on video, be it on fixed wireless, be it on the 5G network, is really strained the existing spectrum, and that's the problem we're solving. Millimeter wave is a very challenging technology. It's very finicky, a very high frequency. It takes a long time to get it right. And I think if you check with any of our customers, they would tell you that, actually what I'm proud to share is our customers call our technology bulletproof, which is absolutely not something you would have heard 5 years ago. So we think we have a very wide, a very deep moat in this technology. We're a pure play investment. If you want to invest in millimeter wave, that's all we do. We don't have a lot of ancillary businesses. We're really, a millimeter wave company. The end of life has been terrific in providing a significant cash flow over the next 12 months. So that's a very, very important part of our business plan for the next several quarters. And we just really are focused now on expanding our pipeline for millimeter solutions, be it in fixed wireless market, be it in the military market, or be it in the consumer electronics market. So with that, I'll leave you to a Q&A session, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
All right, Ron, thank you for that presentation. We have some questions that our audience would like to get a little bit more clarity on. Looking at the fixed access market, roughly how large is the market in terms of total units?
We estimate the portion of the market that we're going after is between 4 and 5 million units. So, that's on an annual basis. So, for us, that represents a TAM of about $200 million annually. So that would be the size of the market we're going after today. Obviously, as we move into 5G, we see more growth opportunities. But for where we're at today, over the next 2 to 3 years, we see the TAM, it's between $200 and $250 million a year.
Great, thank you so much. What would you highlight as 1 or 2 characteristics that makes the millimeter wave such a compelling technology compared to other wireless technologies?
Well, definitely the data, the capacity and the data rates. Like we provide, so in the fixed wireless space, I mean, a lot of people these days talk about fiber, but we provide, very competitive performance to fiber. Really, the key metric there, I would say, is what we refer to as gigabit performance. So we provide gigabit links, and we can go even higher than that. So I think data rate is a very, key advantage of our technology. Another key technology, certainly for the military, but really it's broadly, is we use a technology called beamforming, which allows, the establishment of very tight radio frequency beams. And that gives us an advantage both in terms of, our stealthy capability in the military applications, but also our ability to work in congested areas like the high density urban, the urban network. So really, data rates, stealthy capability, and ultimately low latency as well.
Great, thanks for that. Could you give the investors an idea of the typical range or ASP for one of Peraso's millimeter wave solutions?
So we, the primary instantiation of our technology is in a module format. Actually, more specifically, what we refer to as an antenna module. So that includes our semiconductor devices as well as our proprietary antenna technology that we've developed. I would say a good ballpark number is about $50.
Got it. Let's talk about a little bit of the competitive landscape here for mmWave solution. Who does Peraso typically compete with? Who do you go up against in terms of sort of larger players?
Historically, over the last 5 years, the other key player in this space has been Qualcomm. But what we've discovered about Qualcomm is that their product had actually inferior performance to ours. And actually inferior reliability. So, we find that now over the last 12 months, we've been really taking over several of the Qualcomm-based designs because they're to be frank, I mean, it's not as high a focus for them. But also, really from an ROI perspective, we've really started to dominate the market, and they just don't see this as something that they want to try to catch up on. So Qualcomm historically has been our main competitor, but I'm happy to say that we're really starting to overtake Qualcomm as the market leaders in a significant way.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Let's talk about your pipeline. What does it look like for the remainder of the year in terms of potential new customers and/or design wins? And how does that compare roughly this year versus last year?
On the last earnings call, we announced that our pipeline is about 70 to 80, customers, if you will. It's definitely an improvement. We have a new VP of Sales or Chief Revenue Officer on board named Mark Lunsford. Mark has an extensive background in semiconductor sales, so Mark's done a great job of increasing our pipeline. But like any pipeline, it's prioritized. I'd probably say 20% of our pipeline is going to be responsible for 80% of our business moving forward. But that's just the way pipelines go, right? So we put a lot of effort into expanding our pipeline, and Mark is leading that charge. We have a terrific relationship with a distributor called Richardson RFPD, and Richardson is actually very, very strong in the military space. So gives us really about 150 salespeople globally to penetrate some of those military accounts. We have a direct sales force as well. We have an office in Taiwan that covers China, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea. So I'm really pleased with our pipeline, frankly, and we are starting to see again kind of an array of opportunities that we discussed, including fixed wireless, military, as well as high performance video.
Okay, great. Let's talk about market share. What would be a realistic longer-term target or goal for Peraso's market share in the 60 gig fixed wireless access, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years?
As we speak, I would predict our market share over the next year will be 90%. And that's just as people kind of wind down their Qualcomm designs. Over time, there may be some new competitors, but I don't think 90% market share in the 60 gigahertz space is an unrealistic target just because of where we're at today. And not to mention that, obviously we have an existing product offering, but we're continuously improving that. So we really feel as we win these sockets, we're really going to make it difficult for our competitors to take over those sockets.
Got it. Okay, that's great. You mentioned having a sizable backlog of end-of-life orders for your memory IC products. Can you briefly talk about the significance of these orders in terms of expected revenue and cash flow in 2024?
Well, the backlog that we've shared publicly is $12.6 million. So, I think we've shared in the past that the margin on that is about 70%. So that's kind of the math. So we expect it to provide significant. And now, mind you, I would actually say, Ben, that really is over the next 4 quarters. So I don't have it broken out specifically for 24, but I would say really the next 4 quarters that will exhaust the $12.6 million.
Great.
And I'll sort of cut you off, but I was just going to say, we're expecting there's some potentially new orders as well. So we're hoping that will come into play as well.
Sounds like you have a great tailwind there. Look, thank you. We appreciate your time here today. Certainly found this very informative. I believe our audience did as well. Before we wrap up, 2 quick reminders. Anyone out there, again, not already signed up for a one-on-one, please send me an email at shamsian@lythampartners.com, shamsian@lythampartners.com, or again, visit lythampartners.com/spring2024. And lastly, we have a number of additional webcasted presentations coming up. Please visit the conference homepage and click on the presentations on the left corner. Ron, once again, thank you, and we hope everyone had a good conference. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.